One of the most intriguing and optimistic cryptocurrency ideas available at the moment must be XRP. Definitely, I understand that everyone has a favorite, and that's perfectly acceptable, but in all honesty, I don't currently see anything that compares to XRP. I want to explore a few topics in this video. I want to start by emphasizing how optimistic the whole cryptocurrency market is at the moment. Although now is a fantastic time to pay attention, I also want to draw attention to XRP specifically, beginning with the XRP case. Let's go back to the initial announcement of the case. Just in case you missed it, we are examining monthly candles from December 2020 onwards. Isn't it amazing that nearly 5 years have passed since the December announcement? It would have been 5 years on the calendar. XRP has been under pressure for 4.5 years, or 4 years and 6 months. When you think about it, it's a little crazy. Since the case is essentially over at this point, I'm bringing it up. This is your power move if you're serious about trading XRP or any other cryptocurrency. Use the special URL I've provided below to sign up for Bybit. In addition to receiving a welcome bonus, you will also contribute to the channel's upkeep, which will enable us to continue providing you with superior XRP insights ahead of the competition. It is quick, easy, and safe. It takes 30 seconds. There is no KYC for spot trading, and you can deposit XRP straight. Click the link below to begin right away. While those trading bonuses are still available, don't pass them up. I also want to mention the altcoin market before we get into it. Let's be honest, alt season has not yet arrived. As we enter the Bitcoin season, XRP continues to maintain steady at more than $2. To what extent is that bullish? The peak of the cycle is still to come, and XRP is above $2 during Bitcoin season. The largest altcoin movements usually occur around that time, and XRP is already at this point. It's crazy. Okay, let's discuss Bitcoin and XRP. It's worthwhile to monitor the XRP versus Bitcoin pair while we wait for alt season to really begin. We are still in the Bitcoin season, as I indicated, but XRP is putting a lot of pressure on that pair. It appears to be preparing for a significant breakthrough. The exciting part is about to begin. It appears that we are preparing for something significant. We are 162 days into this decline, having been in this brewing period since January. The previous decline, which lasted 488 days from July 2023 to November, may provide some context. Additionally, XRP jumped 406% off the low when it finally broke. This is the reason it matters. The breakthrough will be larger in a shorter amount of time the longer we travel sideways. We have now remained in this wedge for 462 days without reaching a new high. Since 2018, we have actually been drifting sideways for years, and that's still more than 1,500 days of sideways and downward trends, even if you consider the highs from 2021. Isn't that a long time? The problem is that XRP's value could soar when we eventually break out of this trend and surpass those earlier highs. Do you recall the post I shared with you all the other day in which I claimed that individuals were unaware of the upcoming developments in this market? I just said that it was higher, much higher. Things were starting to look a little precarious back on the 25th. Now that we're at roughly 3.28 trillion. Nothing really noteworthy, but let's first concentrate on the main ideas I've been discussing. Check out the new all-time highs for the M2 supply. The trade conflict has subsided. I'll get into that in a moment. Another check is money market funds, which are still at historic highs. Crypto adoption is being driven by institutional players. Yes, we are also observing that Bitcoin's dominance, retail interest, and macro resistance levels are still at all-time lows according to Google Trends. Simply said, nobody is listening. At the same time, stocks and Bitcoin are moving closer to reaching all-time highs. Since the current situation is significant, let's discuss it. The Nasdaq and S&P 500 recently reached all-time highs. We're looking at all-time highs that have never been seen before. The S&P 500 is currently at 61.73 with a peak of around 62. Quite thrilling, isn't it? This signal is extremely bullish. Why? The last time we reached a new all-time high was in September, right after the July highs. The market soared off after that. This is when things start to get interesting. The stock market and cryptocurrency don't move in tandem. It usually lags a bit. Crypto was therefore still catching up even as the market reached new heights. However, when it finally catches up, chaos ensues. That's precisely how things are developing here. Things will soon heat up, and Bitcoin is currently barely below its all-time highs. While stocks recently reached a new all-time high, the majority of old coins are still holding steady. The dollar is still declining at the same time. I currently anticipate that the dollar will continue to decline for a while before rising again and setting a pleasant new low. This type of price movement is reminiscent of what we observed in May and even January of 2021. Here's the worst part, though. Given how weak the dollar is at the moment, now is an excellent time to concentrate on asset risk. They are turning out to be a really positive prospect. The crazy thing is that very few people are listening. XRP is acting seriously in the interim. Everyone, big news. I'm eager to explain the significant updates that have occurred to you. Clarity comes first. It's official now, even if I only said it the other day. The timing of the Clarity Act couldn't be more ideal. The financial services GOP brought attention to a piece by David Sachs that I discussed in a previous video. This is the chronology. A markup is planned for the first week of September, and the bill is being introduced prior to the August recess. And by the end of September, it should be finalized, will be clear and moving forward this year. It's hard to consider that this could actually happen in just 2 months. The currency is extremely weak. Stocks are reaching